All council members, you have your mics on. Good evening, everyone. My name is Yamika Robinson. I am the mayor of Lake City, and I am calling this special city council meeting to order Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. Our invocation will be led by Councilwoman Scott, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilmember Askins. Can we all please stand?
Let us repeat the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who
God in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, the power, and glory forever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Councilwoman Scott. Thank you, Councilwoman Askins. Madam Clerk, can you please poll the city council members?
Mayor Yamika Robinson.
Present.
Councilmember Nicole Singletary.
Present.
Councilmember Wilhelmina Scott. Present. Councilmember Melissa Askins.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem DeWanda Cooper.
Present.
Councilmember Sandra Crosby.
Present.
Councilmember Jason Brown.
Present.
Madam Mayor, I do find there to be a quorum present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as printed?
Move to approve. Second.
It has been properly moved in second. Any questions, council? If none, all in favor, show of hands. Any opposed? Thank you. Can I get the approval of the minutes? Approval of the minutes on March 5th, 2025, special call meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
It has been properly moved in second. Any questions, council? If none, all in favor, show of hands. Any opposed? Thank you. Next, we'll move forward to our legislative portion of the agenda. Ordinance 2025.001, an ordinance seeking approval to accept the new Lake City tree ordinance and other matters related thereto. Can I get a motion to approve ordinance 2025.001? After we get the motion.
Move to approve ordinance 2025.001.
Can I get a second?
Second.
It has been properly moved in second. Now we can discuss.
I just had a concern about section 12, the public street maintenance standards. At the end of that, where it said, after it says about the mulching and irrigation, if we could add a sentence there. That this requirement should not apply to city employees or utility workers performing repairs.
Where are we at?
Can you repeat that one more time?
It's section 12, public tree maintenance standards,
Okay.
at the very end.
And what was your
This
addition?
requirement shall not apply to city employees or utility workers performing repairs.
You said it should not apply to them?
And I got a question. I think it's a good idea that you want to plant trees and stuff around the town, but for some reason I see that it's gonna fall back on the city later on down the road, 5 years, maybe 10 years down the road, once these trees are around. And with the pruning and the maintenance of keeping up with them and all that good stuff, it's how this ordinance is written. To me, it feels that later on down the road, the city's gonna have to deal with this, maybe after I'm gone or when I'm here. And don't get me wrong, I think it's a brilliant idea. But why do wanna tie the city workers into, doing this and all that good stuff. I think if we was to do that, if we was to get volunteers that just wanna come volunteer and come out and plant trees, if y'all find places to plant trees, I think it's a brilliant idea, but making a whole board and all this good stuff, I just don't see the looks of it at this point in time. So with that being said, I'm gonna sustain from voting for this on my behalf.
Okay, if I can understand, I think the concern is that we're gonna be planting these trees are gonna be putting too much work on our city employees?
No, it's just the verbiage of how it's written up. Later, 10 years from now, yes, we might change this now, but how some of the verbiage is in here, it's gonna come back to the city at a later date where this tree here, we need this tree removed. This is going wrong and we need this cleaned up. And you get what I'm saying? It's just gonna be a lot of back and forth. I feel it's gonna be later on down the road.
Lisa, if I can ask you, a lot of these trees that we're planting now in public areas, what areas are there that we actually, I know that we planted them at the schools, at certain schools.
And the schools are responsible.
And the schools are responsible. Of course, trees that have been picked up at the tree giveaways a lot of them are private.
Yes.
So of course, those are private owners.
Yes, and any
are-
private owner that received a tree is responsible for its installation and maintenance and upkeep.
So y'all get the trees for free?
They are part of the grant program, so yes.
So
Are there any other public?
why do we need to come with a board? I mean, could you get volunteers and just leave the city out of it? I mean,
For the purposes of what? The tree ordinance specifies the city's policy in regards to trees, both public and private. I think that the ordinance was amended to not interfere with private property rights. Now, if that hasn't changed, that may be something that and in fact, let me be very clear. If there's anything in the verbiage of the ordinance that the city council is uncomfortable with, we asked for input. Whatever input we got, we incorporated into the text. We're certainly happy to do that. I think the goal is really just to make sure that because we have had so much interest in and participation in these tree-related activities, that we create an entity on behalf of the city that actually, an all-volunteer tree board that actually sort of guides all of these activities and actually literally takes it off of the city. Now, from my perspective, the tree board would come to me and say, okay, these are things that we want to do in the city related to trees, and then we can look at it. Is it something that we can pursue? Are there resources to help us? And those kinds of things.
yeah, that's pretty much what I'm saying. Can they be under their whole umbrella by themselves, and if they want to come with an idea, a brilliant idea, and say, well, we thinking about putting trees here, would y'all like to contribute to that? And we might say, yeah. But just
So the
Well,
tree
that's
board
com-
be separate and apart from the city is what you're saying?
Yes.
It hasn't historically been that way. The appeal of having the tree board be authorized by the city is the city would have some control related to that. If we wanted to become a tree city again, the tree board is typically something that's done through the city. So if there is an interest in participation in the Tree City program and the Arbor Day Foundation, then we would probably want, again, to have the tree board be something that's authorized by the city. Legally and organizationally, I am not sure how you constitute a tree board outside of the city. Keeping in mind that in many ways, the tree board is an independent entity created and authorized by the city, and whatever, if it's entirely outside the city, then you guys would have no control over it. Not that they could do anything, they can make recommendations to the city, But literally right now, that's all they can do as part of the tree ordinance. Just, you have the ability to authorize their existence and approve or disapprove who is constituted on the tree board.
And I think it states here that it says this, the city shall have the right and responsibility to establish, maintain, protect, and remove the trees located on public property. And public tree maintenance standards shall be developed and made a part of this ordinance and shall include a minimum standard for tree establishment maintenance. If I don't, I'm not taking it, I could be wrong, I'm not taking it that it's stating that we will be solely responsible for maintaining all of these trees, because we do have a partnership with the Moore Farms that they actually come in and do a lot of the landscaping in the different areas in the city of Lake City, in public areas. Like, for instance, they take care of the Village Green area, they take care of the, over there, the Ronnie McNair monuments. They also supposed to take care of right in front of here at the admin building. So we have a partnership where it's not just solely on the staff
And
of the city.
And then I see that too, because like over at the Ronald McNair Memorial, that went lacking there for a while. And if
Yes.
we're taking resources from someone else's resources, and we ain't doing the resources, then
No,
it'll just be
that,
pushed
well, that
around the
was,
table.
that was on their part, because they are supposed to take care of that, not city employees.
But now
And that's
with
what- and
everything,
that's where I'm going back
Yeah.
saying, we can't say, we could rely on them to come and prune trees and all.
yeah,
that if it doesn't
has
go
that been
done.
an agreement now that we have this new tree?
No,
So
that's been before.
that's been before, but now
Yes.
that we have this going on and it's going to be new greenery, new trees in the area, we don't have a partnership right now with them saying, hey, we're gonna, can we work with you guys to, help, maintain and prune the trees around Lake City in the public areas?
They still will.
They still will.
This doesn't change that.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
because we
separate
just
and apart from
recently,
that. And our responsibility to the public trees is because they're on city property.
Right.
And how we choose to deal with them is obviously the decision of council. The tree board is simply a voluntary entity to make recommendations to the city about what we might want to do about public and/or private trees, and to try to encourage the city to maintain and/or not maintain its tree canopy as the tree board would wish.
Like I said, my biggest fear is just, we say like the Ronald McNair Memorial. I mean, when stuff start growing and people start calling, and then something's got to be done, and then that's where resources got to come in. And if this company over here got five or 10 fly bays they got to get before they catch up on this one, I mean, and it's volunteer work, that's why I'm saying, could we alleviate the city out of it? You get what I'm saying?
The tree board is actually, because it's an all-volunteer entity, they can recruit their own volunteers to do any kind of tree maintenance that they wish. And in fact, that's a part of some planned grant seeking strategies. So they would come to me, they don't exist, but I've actually already pursued grants in regards to tree maintenance with the idea that the tree board could use those funds and use those resources for public and or private tree maintenance, depending upon what needs they saw fit.
Okay, if this is a partnership, or we want to ensure that we do not start getting bills from the foundation for tree maintenance.
I'm not sure how the foundation would be involved in this. So I don't know why we would get
Would it
bills
be Moore
from them.
Farms Foundation?
the Moore Farms. We don't-
Moore Farms is a foundation. They have worked with us in the Trees for SC program. There's nothing that they are doing that's billable. The agreement, when we entered into the grant agreement with them, really them supporting us was that there was nothing that they were gonna do because we didn't have, the grant doesn't come with funds. So we didn't have any ability to do anything with them that could compensate them. Their relationship with the city in regards to the maintenance of public city trees is not, I mean, it is spoken to in the tree ordinance. In other words, the maintenance of public trees are spoken to in the tree ordinance, but how that is done is not spoken to at all.
I recall, I guess maybe 2.5, 3 years ago, the Moore Farms or the Foundation one, I can't remember which one, sending a bill. We were getting bills for like thousands monthly.
15,
Pardon?
1,500, 2,000.
Yeah, and it was a lot of money. It was like 15, 20,000, if I remember correctly. So this is what we want to make sure we're not, the city has no obligation to reimburse them for their,
For their work.
their
We
people
can-
and their work.
We can go back and we can go back and definitely check on that.
We did pay them a lot of money, but
But to make sure what the services was for. And then also to,
it was for maintenance of the
Debris.
downtown area, the debris and
but
streets and stuff.
to prune, you have to make sure you doing that correctly and everybody don't know exactly how to do that correctly. Cause I mean, I couldn't tell you exactly. I'd probably just go out there and start cutting. So you have to have exactly. So, you know, I can't say that our staff or who on our staff can or cannot. But I know that they're the one, are trained or certified arborists that can actually, that does that.
Well, pruning usually
They're not
takes place in the
actually-
spring.
I'm
All right,
sorry.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, there are certified arborists on the staff of Moore Farms, which of course would be the preferred person to handle those kind of things, but they are not the only ones. There's nothing in the tree ordinance that specifies anything contractually with Moore Farms. That's something that the city,
That's
that would be a
it's separate.
separate contract or agreement
Yeah.
that the city
It's
would enter
separate.
into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say that certainly the Moore Farms support of our Trees for SC program is very much appreciated, but it is not, it's not bound by any contract.
And that's just like the other day I seen on Facebook. They was out there at the school, and I see some of the city employees was out there with shovels and helping. PR events, that's perfectly fine when you doing, you know, here and there. But I wouldn't expect it to be a every time thing. If we go to different locations and we got employees out there when we's taken away from city duties, you know, not saying that we running a type ship or anything, you know. PR events is good, but it's things that could be getting done within the city, and it's just.
I don't think it will be a continuous thing. I think, not saying with the
tree
maintenance.
installation was probably a one-time event. and
Right.
I don't anticipate it, the grant
Where we
that
have to take
covers
them
that
away from their
ends
duties.
this fall, so I don't anticipate anything like that
Right.
necessarily happening in the future. There was a recruitment of volunteers from among city staff to help us with the school plantings. So there was no coercion or anything like that. Now, I guess there could be an argument from amongst their supervisors whether or not they should.
No. It wasn't an argument. It's just what I observe, and as me being a council member, I have to look at both angles. You get what I'm saying? Like I say, it's good to be out in the community doing things, but it's things that we gotta take into consideration. We still running the city, and it's still things that citizens that need maybe at a pertinent time, but we out doing something.
What
else.
staff members were out there that day helping?
Fire department.
Firefighters? Okay. There was no public works or,
I think there was one person or two people from Public Works in
Okay.
regards to digging the holes,
okay.
just for
But
speed. to be
emergency
perfectly frank.
service was out there.
The fire department was out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, pruning trees is no big deal because everything is on YouTube now. And it depends on the size of the tree, and all the information you need is available through social media. My concern is still no monetary obligation
So do we need
There's
to,
nothing in the tree ordinance.
so do we need to wait
specifies
till you contact more farms and see where we at as far as, if we're gonna be billed, if they're gonna be taking care of the trees in
I
the
don't-
public areas, or what do we
Well,
need
I
to
don't
do?
think, I don't think we need to wait. I don't have to actually contact them. I
Or
can
just look
contact-
back.
Yeah, I can look with our finance department on that part, but then it's still separate from the tree ordinance.
Yeah, I think that's if there's a
Yeah.
concern about more farms
It's totally
doing
separate
work
from
on
this.
behalf of the city, this is separate and apart from this.
And then it'll be back and forth with more farms anyway, and I wouldn't include them in, because they got their own day-to-day operational business they gotta take care of. And when we talking about volunteers, if we volunteer work and you getting paid work, that's where the line come in. You
The
know what I'm saying?
partnership with them, with the Greater Lake City Alliance and the Moore Farms, has already been established, and it's not really a going back and forth of.
Yeah, that's why I said it would be a back and going forth, not back and going forth between the two agencies. What I'm saying, they got their day-to-day 8 to 5 what they doing, and then you got your people that's volunteered what they doing. So you can't call them if you ain't got enough to do this, if they busy tied up doing something else. You can't rely on that. That's what I'm saying.
The goal of the tree board would be to create an entity that would
Of
have
their
enough
own.
volunteers, that would have workers to do everything that we would want to do in regards to the tree canopy in the city. Keeping in mind, there's public trees and private trees come with special requirements because of course they're on private property.
And the location's already been established of where we have that partnership with them on which areas that they go in maintenance. So those locations are already listed and established, so it's not like,
And would it be not that school? You got the janitors cutting the grass. They got a grass cutting crew. They can weed it around their own stuff. I understand they'll be taken care of, but once it come from outside of that realm, how would it be taken care of then? You get what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying.
It's a good idea. I love the idea.
In regards to the Trees for SC program, we have almost entirely done tree plantings on either school property or private property. So there's
there's
been
no other
minimal,
locations, public.
new trees installed on city property.
So private property, you mean you go to someone resident and
No.
plant?
Residents,
to
no,
take care
we're
of
not,
their own.
we would have no ability
They-
and no willingness and
So
no
what is-
obligation to do that.
What is private property?
They received,
People's residences.
yeah,
Okay,
The tree
that's what I'm asking.
plantings, we had trees that we gave away
The
to
tree
private
giveaway.
residents. They brought them back to their home, they planted them
Yeah.
based on however they wanted to do it, with the understanding that the tree is their responsibility once they take it into their hands or put it in their car. And so we have no obligation for those trees. After that, we gave residents the trees and they did with them, hopefully they planted them, but they did what, we don't even, to be perfectly honest, we don't even know. We just gave people trees and most of them, I'm sure, planted them, but yeah.
so as of right now, we don't have any new public property, city property that we planted trees on to say if we needed our staff to maintain. This is just a tree ordinance putting in place. And I also want to say, being a tree city, it could also, we can also benefit us possibly getting other grant fundings down the road for anything else, being a tree city, and putting this ordinance in place and having a tree board. But we don't have any extra or, any other new spaces that we planted trees for our staff to have to go out there and maintain. It's only been the private property where the residents came and picked up their free tree at the tree giveaway, and also the tree planting at the schools that the school are happily to maintain, because the schools are really big on Arbor Day. And
What
so
I will
forth.
say is, we were very conscious to not add to the public works burden. We had a discussion about what we would try to do with any tree planting campaign, and we were very well aware that if we planted trees on public property, that would create obligations for the city, and we weren't prepared to make those. That actually is y'all's responsibility. I think the other thing I would say is participating in this program has been something that I have leveraged to other grant funding opportunities with some success. Anytime that you successfully apply for a grant, participate in a grant program, it makes other funders more interested in what you're doing. And there are a variety of funders that are
Yeah,
interested
definitely
in
put it right.
this kind of programming. And, we leverage that as much as we can. So there are other things that we've gotten in addition to trees, that aren't directly related, but are certainly part and parcel of this whole process.
I think about the trees, I think with the quality of life that it provides for the city and people that live in the city. Like I got some at my house I can't stand because they're on my house. But then when I think about the quality of the oxygen it provides for us and people that live in the city. I would think it was a good idea, but I like what he said. No, we're not taxed or in a situation that we have to continue to keep these trees up at our expense. But when I think about the quality of life while trees are planted, it's a good idea.
I think there haven't been new trees there may be minimal new trees planted by this campaign. The rest of them are, as I said, are the responsibility of either the residents or the schools. Now we are looking at other tree plantings related to different programs, and we will have other funding sources and other things to try to take care of those things. But specifically with Trees for SC, there's not really a tree maintenance responsibility for the city. Now, the tree ordinance does talk about public tree maintenance, and that is obviously something that city council can speak to and should speak to.
And I think that's what Councilmember Askins was just trying to clarify, that the work, if any public trees were planted, that it would not fall so burdeningly on our staff. And as of right now, we don't have any more tree plantings. The tree plantings were done either privately or at the schools.
I think there's one final tree giveaway planned in the fall, and it will again be given away
Private.
to the residents.
Yes.
So. But if there's issues with the text of the tree ordinance, I know Kayla and myself both reached out to try to get changes. We're happy to make the changes to the text. We just need to know what we wanted to say. That's above our pay grade in terms of that decision. We just need to be told what y'all wanted to say, and that is what I will say.
Do you want to go ahead and make that suggestion now? Do anybody else have any suggestions? Does everything look okay now, or do we want to?
Don't vote and get it done over.
That's fine. With the changes, with the necessary changes, yes.
So I want to make a motion to amend, to add that change to section 12 of the public tree maintenance standards.
You want to say exactly?
This requirement shall not apply to city employees or utility workers performing repairs.
You have it? Okay. So we have a motion to amend with the necessary corrections documented by our Madam Clerk. Do I have the motion's already been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
It has been properly moved and second. Any other questions? If none, all in favor, show of hands. Any opposed?
That's the same from.
We have one abstain. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Lisa. Okay. Next, we have Resolution 2025.011, a resolution for the City of Lake City, South Carolina, seeking approval to recognize Lake City Downtown Walking Trail and other matters related thereto. Can I get a motion to approve?
Is it okay to make a motion to table this because there still needs, I thought the codes enforcement would be here to clarify it. It
She-
sounds- Okay.
She's here to clarify.
Okay, thank you.
So can I get a motion to approve?
I like to see this table to another time, because the map there that we got doesn't show any justice, and a little bit more clarification on it.
Can you make the motion? I'll second it.
Is a motion to table Resolution 2025.011, and it was seconded. Any questions, discussion? None. All in favor to table Resolution 2025.011? Any opposed? Thank you, Lisa.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I can't.
And before we go to executive session, I got a couple of questions. Where are we standing on,
What was the,
we ain't in executive, we still on?
what was the question?
Where are we standing with the forensic audit?
Okay, that has to, we can't discuss that right here.
Not the audit
Yes.
itself, but the
We
status
not
of it.
discuss the status. Have we got any more bids or anything on?
Mr. Brandon Carter will be able to answer that because he has been seeking. So, and he's not here right now to give you answers for that.
Okay. I don't know how the rest of the council feel, but I think we done been kicking this back and forth across the table. By next council meeting, I think some of us would love to see the numbers where we could go ahead and move forward with the forensic audit. Where we could
I agree. This is a special call meeting, so Mr. Brandon was not prepared to bring that type of information to a special call meeting. But at the regular city council meeting, I'm definitely sure that he will have more information to bring for the council and for public.
Okay.
That would be fine. And matter of fact, we have our budget workshop this Saturday, which
Okay.
will be before the next council meeting, and that information can be shared then as well.
Well, let me ask, did he have 30 days from the time the ordinance was done? Seems like I remember 30 days, and I stand to be corrected that is not the case.
I cannot say.
I can speak to that, that's what I'm kind of.
Okay.
moving around. I did the bid solicitation for the forensic audit. It closes March 31st at noon. Questions are to go to Mr. Carter.
Yes.
So I don't know that he had any, nobody has spoken to me about the solicitation. It's been advertised in 3 different locations, city website, South Carolina Business Opportunities, and Demand Star. The last time that I looked, there were no submissions because we agreed to accept electronic bids because that gives us more bids. There were no bids on Demand Star. Other bids, Mr. Carter would receive.
I
Do you know
can't,
why there were no responses or replies to the bids?
I-
I don't know that there aren't. I
Okay,
don't know that.
I don't think, she's saying there are no submissions, complete submissions yet.
They're not due until the 31st, and I can tell you historically, bidders usually wait to the last minute, and I wish that it was otherwise.
and this being tax season too, you know, it could be.
Sure.
But there have been responses to the request for it, and Mr. Carter will be able to give you more detail, but there have been responses. They have been asking questions, certain questions, wanting to get more specifications on what we're asking for and what we're needing and the time length and what we're looking for, those type things. But they want to know that type of information before they actually submit for the bid.
I'd like to ask that all council members receive copies of those questions
Yes.
or responses from them.
We can talk with Mr. Brandon Carter, because that went straight to him.
Yeah, could we see them? Because if we got by March 30, you say 31st? It's March 25th now,
Right.
so
You
if
can,
we could.
we can ask Mr. Carter to send that to you, but just to keep in mind, that's just for your information.
Yes.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to put in a bid for it.
We
It's
understand
just
that.
they're answering the questions.
We
We're
understand.
answering the questions that they're
If we
asking.
could
That's
see
a
the
given,
bids
and,
get an email.
Madam Clerk, will you mind, emailing everyone tomorrow with the responses? Thank you.
That's all I got to say, thank you.
Is that all? That's it? Sure? Because we're about to go into executive session. Okay, thank you. Can I get a motion? Executive session pursuant to the South Carolina Freedom of Information Act, Sections 30-4-70A1-2 for the discussion of personnel, employment, compensation, or appointments, and the receipt of legal advice. Can I get a motion to move into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
It has been properly moved in second. Any questions? If none, all in favor, show of hands. Thank you.
Thank you. I need a motion to come out of an executive session.
So moved.
It has been properly moved in second. Any questions? If none, all in favor, show of hands. Any opposed? None. Thank you. Next, I need a motion to adjourn.
So move.